As you arrive on your mat, sit in about the middle in a cross-legged posture. I'll be sitting in Siddhasana, but you might find Sukhasana is more comfortable for you. Find the place where you can sit tall comfortably and you have room for your lungs to expand in your rib cage. And then we're working with the mudra Pushpaputta, which is a great word. Pushpaputta translates to mean handful of flowers. So you're bringing the little finger side of your hands together with your elbows relaxed by your sides, hands level with your solar plexus or your elbows, and cupping your hands slightly, as though you're holding space not only to receive but also to offer back. And that's some of our theming in this winter practice, the cycle of things. And as you settle into your posture, take your gaze down towards the tip of your nose with your eyelids almost closed. If that is troublesome, then just look down towards your hands without going cross-eyed. And then breathe in and out through your nose. Find your deeper, more conscious breath. And we're going to work with a Kunmbhaka of the exhale, with suspending the breath out of the body. So this next time that you exhale, draw your belly back towards your spine. Empty all of the air out. Keep the breath held out of the body and pulse your belly. If that's not appropriate for you today, then just work with suspending the exhale without pulsing. If you're pulsing your belly, only do as many repetitions as completely as you can without struggle. So you're holding the breath out of the body, rib cage staying lifted, and pulsing the belly. So you're drawing the belly back towards the spine, up towards the ribs, and then relaxing it entirely, and then drawing it back, and then relaxing it entirely. Actioning your abdominal muscles to stimulate digestion, noticing how that feels with the breath held out. When you get to the point where you need to inhale, let the breath flow back in easily. And this next time that you inhale, close your eyes and take your cross-eyed gaze inwards and upwards towards Ajna Chakra, the third eye point between the eyebrows. And now, instead of pulsing, just engage Mulabandha and hold Mulabandha on the suspended exhale. Take your time to inhale, to fill completely, and then to empty completely. And sitting with that emptiness, noticing what it feels like to be empty, and also to have that engagement right at the base of the spine as you take your gaze upwards towards the third eye point. We're going to change the drishti, the gaze, one more time. So this next time that you inhale, you release Mulabandha. Take your gaze up towards the very top of your head, as though you have a skylight in the top of your head and you could see the sky above. And when you exhale next, suspend the breath out as you've been doing, but don't engage Mulabandha. Just stay with the emptiness, with that suspension of the exhale, keeping your rib cage, your sternum lifted. And stay with it just as long as you don't struggle. See if you can relax into the need for air. If you can soften into that tug for the inhale, but without struggling with it. Inquiring into what does it feel like to be empty. Physiologically, this is akin to death, not having breath in the body. So we're inquiring into what that means to let die, to let go. Your gaze up towards the very top of your head. In these last few breaths with this practice, soften your gaze and let go of the breath entirely. Just let it happen. And see if you can become a little bit more porous, a little bit more spacious, as though you are becoming space. So you're no longer separated from the space around you, no longer aware of the obstacles within you. Be space, watching the breath. Becoming conscious of your hands, very easily and gently bring your palms together into Atmanjali Mudra and notice any sensations in your hands and the connection that your fingertips and your palms make to each other. As you bring your thumbs to your sternum, remind your sternum to lift up if it's collapsed. Settle your shoulders broad onto your back. And as we tune in, see if you can translate that sense of being space into being the mantra. Can you be infinite creative consciousness and divine wisdom? Breathing in for the first of 3. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. As you inhale, lift your arms up, stretch up tall, and as you exhale, reach out wide and back behind you, opening your shoulders, and continue for another couple breaths, opening your shoulders, moving your breath with your arms. As you release your arms down this next exhale, take your legs out in front of you and stretch out through your feet. Push the ground away with your hands behind you. We're coming into Dandasana, which is kind of like the Tadasana of sitting postures. It's the neutral pose of sitting postures. So finding the lordosis in your low back, which may mean, if you're honest, that you have to bend your knees. Energize your feet even if your knees are bent. And feel what's happening in your low back. Feel that you have that curve inwards towards your feet. And once you find that, whatever bend you have in your knees, strengthen your legs as though you're pressing them down into the floor, and then bring your arms up and out, parallel to your legs, shoulders broad on your back. And inhale, tilt back, taking your head back with you, keeping it in line with your spine, feeling where your core engages. And then exhale and just sit up tall. If your knees are bent, just focus on sitting up tall and lifting your sternum up, growing up out of your sits bones. If your legs are long, only if your legs are long, then begin to tilt forward, pivoting at your hips so that you're not rounding from your low back. Inhale, tilt back, exhale, lift up, or if you can, tilt forward, but don't force it. Let the energy of this movement and your breath dynamically helping you move start to open up the backs of the legs, but do it little by little, not all at once. Inhale back, exhale, up or forward. Strong breath through your nose, clearing out your sinuses. Jaw relaxed. If you feel clear on what you're doing, feel free to close your eyes. Imagine you're rowing your boat. This is called rowboat. So imagine you're rowing your boat along a body of water that you love, and it's worth the energy, worth the effort. And then bringing yourself right up tall, right up above your sits bones. Take a breath in, suspend the breath. Imagine you have little thumbtacks underneath your butt cheeks and see if you can grow a little bit taller from your seat upwards through the top of your head. Pause, and then release as you exhale. Bring your hands behind you. You may want to shake your legs out. And bringing yourself down onto your back into Shavasana, corpse pose, dead body pose. So playing again with the cycle of things, having just moved and engaged, created energy, now let yourself drop down and see what you can let go of, starting to become really efficient at the skill of letting go. How quickly can you drop into the groove of softer muscles, more spacious joints, and easier breath? Taking your attention to your breath. And begin to deepen your breathing. So you're shifting into Ujjayi Pranayama. Within your relaxed body, notice the change that the breath makes. We're going to take a slower, deeper stretch into the backs of the legs with hamstring stretch. So this next time that you exhale, draw your belly down into your back, stabilize your low back, and use that to bring your legs up off the ground. Feel free to bend your knees. And hook your big toes with your first 2 fingers, holding tight to your big toes. Start to stretch the heels of your feet up towards the sky. As you're moving into the stretch, into the sensation in the backs of your legs, find the alignment. So before you get too deep into it, that it's hard to adjust, bring your feet parallel, middle toes, middle ankles, middle knees, front hip bones aligned, so you have roughly a fist width of space between your feet. And then start to reach your heels up, deepen your breathing as though your breath has access to that stretch in the backs of your legs. If you're a little bit more flexible, you can hold the whole ball of your foot with your fingertips on each side. And as you start to find a little bit more length through your legs, may not be today, but if you're finding a little bit more length, then activate your quadricep muscles to move your thigh bones away from your belly. Tilt your tailbone back towards the ground, broadening your sacrum and your low back into the ground, and just go to the extent that you can breathe, listening for that steady ocean-sounding breath. Giving the backs of your legs a little bit more nourishment with your breath, with your attention, with your willingness to stay in that intensity. Now that we have a little bit more length in the legs, let go of your feet, activate them as you bring your knees right above your hips, coming into yogi lifts. Bring your interlaced fingers behind your head and lift your head up. Clear your shoulders from your neck and look at the breath that you've just been cultivating in your belly. See your belly rise. Pause once it's expanded and pull your belly down before you exhale. And then exhale and amplify that. Pull your belly deep into your back. Curl your tailbone up. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other and move that right up through your feet. Spread your 10 toes out away from each other. And then soften on your inhale. Take a break. Keep the inhale really long so you have time to rest before you move into the next engagement. Jaw relaxed, you're not yanking your neck. Doing 4 of these. Looking at your belly, even as your legs lengthen, you can glance at your legs, see that they're energized, that they're moving in towards each other and up towards the sky and spreading 10 toes out at the top of that exhale. But then look down and see that your belly's pulled down. It's not following your legs up. Being willing to engage with this intensity, to activate at your core, and to radiate up into your pelvis and your legs, out through your toes. This next exhale, release your head into your hands, let your elbows open, notice how your shoulders feel, soften your feet towards your bum, off the ground or on the ground. Take a few breaths, integrating what you've just done, what you've just woken up at your navel center. We're going to come up for just 2 of this higher set. So legs are the same, but as you bring your upper body off the ground, pull your elbows up towards the level of your knees, bring your upper arms closer to your thighs, and then same exact breathing and movement into the legs. But as you exhale and lengthen your legs, pull your elbows up. Shoulder blades are off the ground. You're not yanking your neck, though. You're just engaging abdominal muscles up towards solar plexus where ribs meet. Last one, really slow and steady. When you finish this one, bring yourself down, long legs on the ground, rest your head, and breathe into your belly as you bring your hands to your butt cheeks and pull your butt up towards your shoulders so that you create that lordosis, that curve in your low back, and you feel like you're more on your sits bones than on your sacrum. And then energize your legs just like you had them in yogi lifts. So together, feet active, pressing through the balls of your feet like you have high heels on, and then hug your thighs with your palms of your hands. Press your elbows into the ground to lift your shoulders and your sternum up, coming up towards the top of your head, but instead of being on the top of your head, as many people tend to do this fish pose, Matsyasana, find where you're on the space between the top and the back of your head. So the back of your neck still has an easy curve in it. You're not scrunching up the back of your neck. If you have any issues in your neck, be really confident about pressing down through your elbows or adjust to where you feel confident. If you have any doubt or concern, come back down. If you're feeling confident, you can feel the backs of your legs pressing down into the ground, tops of your thighs, pressing your thigh bones down into the ground, feet active, core strong, and you want to take your hands up off the ground. Then lift your palms up towards the ceiling, palms together, reach up, and if you want to, you can invert your hands, bringing your fingertips towards your sternum. So it's like you have little fins in this fish posture. If that doesn't feel confident for you, that doesn't feel wise for you, then stay with your elbows on the ground and use your arm strength, elbows pressing down, forearms pressing down to help lift your sternum and to lift weight out of your head. Find your inhale in that lift of your sternum. Your exhale, press the floor away with your legs. You have a lot of foundation here, so use it to lift weight out of your head. This next time that you inhale, if your arms are up, bring them back down, push the ground away with your forearms, with your elbows, and find a little bit more expansion through your chest, through your sternum. And then as you exhale, tuck your chin towards your chest. You may have to lift your head slightly if you get stuck. But find where your neck releases down, your head releases down, and your upper back broadens into the ground. You may need to adjust your butt cheeks again so that your low back is comfortable. Releasing here into Shavasana. So dying down, dropping down in order to integrate, in order to let what you've just done take effect. Noticing what you're feeling, where's the energy, where's the movement, and how is your breath. Watching your breath happen. And then deepening your breathing. If you have let your breath go, shift back into Ujjayi Pranayam. So you're coming back to life in this corpse pose, dead body pose, from the breath expanding from the center of you outwards. And feeling on the exhale that your belly drops down into your back. And the next time that you feel that you stabilize your low back with your core, with your low front, then use that to bring your legs up off the ground. And align your knees up above your hips. If you have tightness in the backs of your legs, then your knees might be bent and be more over your belly. So find where it feels like your ankles are then above your hips. And check in with your low back. Find where you have that lordosis, that natural upwards curve away from the floor of your low back, which may mean that you need to tilt your tailbone towards the ground a little bit more. And as you find that in your low back, find whatever length in your legs doesn't disturb that in your low back, and energize your feet like they're standing on the ceiling. So drawing your toes down, bringing the balls of your feet more level with your heels. And then once you get that foundation in your sacrum, that right angle at your hips, even if your knees are bent, bring your arms up above your head and reach long through your fingers. So this right angle at the hips we're going to do a number of different times in different relationships to the floor and with different relationships to the pull of gravity. So from here, focus on reaching your heels up, tilting your tailbone, pressing your sacrum down. And then also become aware of your shoulders broad underneath you, lengthen through your elbows, through your fingers, tuck your thumbs in towards your palms so that your hands are a little bit more level with your shoulders. So this is the same as what we're going to do later on with Dandasana, Paschimottanasana, of sitting up tall. See if you can use the floor here to find your alignment without having to hold yourself up. This next time that you inhale, add your arms in, bring them up above your shoulders, so they're parallel to your legs, palms facing each other, keeping your shoulders broad underneath you. Dead bug pose. Really simple posture. From the outside, looks like you're not doing much of anything, but see if you can feel that as you inhale, you breathe from the foundation of your body on the ground, and then exhale from that up through your legs. That's where the energy is going to be. The arms are easy. And now shake it out. Shake your arms and legs really loose so the muscles are loose on the bones. Get a little crazy here. Laugh as hysterically as you can. If you have to fake it, fake it. Initially, you might have to just laugh along with me or laugh from your belly as an abdominal exercise. But then let yourself go. See if you can let go of any seriousness, taking yourself too seriously. This is what I think of as a more advanced posture. If you have an ability to laugh automatically on command, that to me is more advanced. Shaking it out. When you start to feel it dying down, can you take it a little bit farther? Can you keep going with it? And then tucking down into yourself, draw your legs down, breathe, take that in. Notice what that feels like. Even if you had to fake it, you're releasing endorphins in your body. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real laugh and a fake laugh sometimes. So you reap the benefits, the effects of that, even if you didn't feel it in the moment. As you breathe a little bit deeper, start to massage your back. That might be side to side if that's the smartest thing for you, or if you're comfortable with it, move along the length of your spine. Start by holding the backs of your thighs, and then if you're moving along the length of your spine and you can control that movement so you're not putting pressure on your neck, you're able to stop at your sits bones in balance, you might play with taking your hands lower to your calves or your ankles, or even holding on to your toes. But if you're flumping, if you're putting pressure on your neck, then stay with holding where you have more control. Use your breath with this. Inhale one way, exhale the other. And this next time that you inhale and come up, if you're not already holding your big toes, hook your big toes just like you do for hamstring stretch. This is essentially hamstring stretch balanced on your sits bones. Start to lengthen up through your heels. It's going to require balance. So look between your legs, past your legs, find a point to focus your gaze on that's not going to move, so that you anchor yourself in space. And then use that hold on your toes. And if you're not holding your toes, hold your ankles or your calves or even the back of your thighs. Work with whatever variation of upward facing boat you can breathe into, and start to find that lift through your low back, shoulders coming broad onto your back. So playing with lifting yourself up out of the ground, drawing your shoulders down. Use the hold on your legs to help you draw up. This is what we're going to play with later on as well. So starting to find it here, even though you're balancing. Breathe steadily, jaw relaxed. If you find that you roll back onto your tailbone, just start again. Keep lifting up onto your sits bones, playing with that dynamic balancing. This next time that you exhale, release down into essentially bound angle. So you're bringing your feet together, knees out to the sides. Find where you're lifting through your spine and hook your big toes if you can, or do the alternate version just like you did an upward facing boat of holding somewhere else along your legs, wherever works for you to help lift your torso up, slide your shoulders down, and also lengthen your legs. And then again, you're balancing here on your sits bones, on this tripod of bones, 2 sits bones and tailbone, but focusing on lifting more up onto your sits bones. And then we're adding into this another element, breath of fire. If breath of fire doesn't work for you, just stay with long, deep breathing. So you have several ways to adjust this posture, this Kundalini lotus posture. Focus your gaze again to help your balance. And then if it works for you, and you haven't already, add breath of fire in. So it's dynamic breath in and out through the nose. Complete breath in and out. You find the pace that works for you. If I'm going faster or slower, you adjust to where you can sustain that pace. You get lightheaded, come back to long, deep breathing. How to remain calm in the midst of the intensity of holding yourself up and open, and also with this dynamic breathing. And then take a big breath in and suspend the breath. Engage Mulabandha. See if you can grow a little taller. If you feel balanced, you can try closing your eyes here. And then as you exhale, release, bringing yourself back into bound angle. So your feet are together, knees out to the sides. Check that your feet line up. Draw the flesh of your butt out so that you're on your sits bones. And then use the hold on your ankles or your calves to draw your sternum up. Draw your shoulders down. And as you exhale, see if you can drop your knees down. Inhale, lift your spine up, and exhale, drop your knees down. Notice the relationship between your low back and your hips. As you lift up, the knees tend to want to lift up, and as you drop your knees down, the low back tends to want to collapse. And then this next time that you inhale, gather up your legs, bring them in towards each other, lengthen them out long, and release yourself down long into Shavasana again. So we've been here a few times in this practice, and this will be the last time for this practice. So settling in, making sure that you're going to be warm and comfortable. If you need anything to cover up with, if it is actually winter for you, make sure you're going to be warm and you can drop down and be supported. Feel free to cover your eyes if you have something to cover your eyes with. As you settle into stillness, bring your attention inwards. In Sahasrara, the 7th chakra at the top of the head, the very top of the head, that guides this practice, this season. We come into levels of acceptance, surrender, transcendence, immanence, all very big words, big concepts. But we can start with our relationship to these by allowing ourselves to be. So in this posture of stillness, allow yourself to be still. Commit to being still. Becoming more and more conscientious with your regular practice of your own habitual patterns of contraction, of holding. Giving yourself permission to be not only still but spacious, to release from doing on those subtle internal levels, releasing tongue, jaw, shoulders, belly, pelvis, feet. And give you some time to be still and spacious in silence. And then I'll bring you back out with my voice. Notice where your attention is. If it's not on your breath, bring your attention to your breath. Without changing it, if possible, simply notice your breath happening, your body happening, being. As you continue to rest another moment, I'll read you a poem by Hafiz called "And for No Reason." And for no reason, I start skipping like a child. And for no reason, I turn into a leaf that is carried so high I kiss the sun's mouth and dissolve. And for no reason, 1,000 birds choose my head for a conference table, start passing their cups of wine and their wild songbooks all around. And for every reason in existence, I begin to eternally laugh and love. When I turn into a leaf and start dancing, I run to kiss our beautiful friend, and I dissolve in the truth that I am. Breathing into your I amness, into your body, into yourself, this vehicle that you have. And making your transition out of your stillness, keeping the spaciousness as you stretch, wiggle, shake, twist, rock and roll. See what you need to do, how you need to move to bring yourself up effortlessly, easily. And as you come up to a comfortable seated position, inhale your arms out and up overhead. Draw them down along your midline, acknowledging yourself, your light, your divinity with namaste, and anyone else you're practicing with. Namaste.